Truth often wears a mask, and sometimes it's the people closest to us, our friends, partners, and even family members, who disguise it the best. We like to believe that we can easily spot deceit, that our emotional intelligence shields us from lies. But in reality, we often overlook the truth not because we can't see it, but because we choose to turn a blind eye. I've been there myself, priding myself on being a keen judge of character, only to realize later that I had missed the deception right under my nose. The signs were all there: subtle changes in behavior, exaggerated stories, and defensiveness at the slightest question. But I convinced myself that they meant nothing. The truth, however, is that deception is more common than we think, and often it's the people closest to us who are the ones hiding it. Today, we'll look at how Stoic philosophy can help us peel back the layers of deception and reveal the uncomfortable truth. Let's dive into 4 key signs of dishonesty and learn how the Stoics would guide us to uncover what's really going on. One of the first and most telling signs of deception is contradictions in a person's story. When someone is spinning half-truths or fabricating details, it's incredibly difficult for them to keep the story consistent. Small details might shift with every retelling. A spontaneous weekend trip might later become a meticulously planned event with more people involved. These discrepancies can seem minor, but they're often red flags, signaling that something isn't quite right. From a Stoic perspective, lying requires the person to create and maintain a false narrative, which is not only mentally exhausting but morally troubling. Marcus Aurelius believed that living truthfully brings peace and clarity, while deceit burdens us with the constant work of upholding lies. When you notice these inconsistencies, it's not just a matter of catching someone in a mistake. It's a sign that they might be struggling to keep their own story straight. Reflect on why they might feel the need to change their tale. Is it a simple slip-up, or is it something more deliberate? The Stoic approach is to observe with detachment, recognizing that sometimes the truth is hidden not just from you, but even from the person telling the story. Another clear sign of dishonesty is a noticeable lack of empathy. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, is not just a social nicety, it's a cornerstone of human connection and a vital principle in Stoic philosophy. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius emphasize the importance of empathy in living a virtuous life, suggesting that to live harmoniously, we must be attuned to the emotions of others, not just ourselves. When someone is lying, their focus often narrows to maintaining their false narrative, leaving little room for genuine emotional connection. This lack of empathy can manifest in conversations where their responses feel disconnected or inappropriate. For example, if someone shares personal news of a loss, and the response feels cold or dismissive, it's not just emotional disengagement. It could be a sign that the person is more concerned with hiding the truth than showing care. The Stoic perspective here is clear. Honesty and empathy go hand in hand. If someone's emotional responses don't align with the truth of the situation, it might be a sign to look closer. Is this just a rare misstep, or could it be a deliberate shield meant to cover a lie? The Stoic way would be to observe with detached clarity, understanding that such emotional dissonance could point to deeper dishonesty. When someone is caught in a mistake or wrongdoing, do they own up to it? Or do they immediately start shifting blame? A person who refuses to take responsibility for their actions is not only avoiding the truth, but rejecting one of the core tenets of Stoic philosophy: personal accountability. Stoicism teaches that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we always have control over how we respond. When someone refuses to accept responsibility, they're denying the opportunity for self-reflection and growth. Instead of learning from their mistakes, they're more concerned with preserving their image and avoiding consequences. This kind of behavior erodes trust and integrity over time, and it's often a sign of a deeper dishonesty. Think back to the last time you saw someone deflect blame: a colleague who missed a deadline and immediately blamed the team, the tools, or the lack of clear instructions. It's frustrating to watch, especially when it becomes a pattern. From a Stoic perspective, true strength lies in confronting our mistakes head-on, learning from them, and using them as opportunities for growth. When someone can't take responsibility, they're not only lying to others, but they're lying to themselves, denying the chance to improve and become a better person. Have you ever encountered someone who gets extremely defensive, even when the situation doesn't warrant it? This exaggerated reaction can be another sign that someone is hiding something. People who are constantly on the defensive may be trying to protect their lie or maintain a false image. Instead of calmly addressing the issue, they react with hostility, dismissing any hint of criticism as an attack. From a Stoic viewpoint, this defensiveness is a sign of insecurity and a lack of inner peace. The Stoics believe that true peace comes from accepting reality, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. If someone is unable to calmly engage in a conversation without becoming defensive, it's often because they're protecting something they don't want to confront. A Stoic would approach this behavior with understanding, recognizing that it's not about the person's external reaction, but about their inner conflict. By applying Stoic wisdom, we can navigate the tricky terrain of dishonesty and deception. The Stoics remind us to observe, not react, to recognize the contradictions, the lack of empathy, the blame shifting, and the defensiveness without being swept up in the drama. Understanding these signs is not about becoming cynical or distrustful, but about cultivating the clarity to see the truth, even when it's hidden right in front of us. The key is to stay grounded, stay observant, and remember that truth, though sometimes disguised, is always there for those who are willing to see it. Have you ever noticed someone's reaction to even the simplest question? An almost instant defensiveness, like they're bracing for an attack. It's as if they're jumping at shadows, assuming they're under threat when in reality, no accusation was made. This knee-jerk defensiveness is a clear red flag that something deeper is at play. It's not just an innocent reaction. It often signals that they're hiding something, either because they've done something wrong or they're trying to conceal the truth. At the core of defensiveness lies fear. Fear of being found out, fear of judgment, or fear of losing control over a situation. When someone is defensive, especially in the context of lying, it's a protective mechanism designed to shield themselves from the consequences of their actions. Let's break this down. Imagine you ask someone a simple question like, "Did you finish that report?" Instead of a straightforward answer, they launch into a long, defensive rant about how they've been swamped with work. No one understands their stress, or how it's unfair for you to even ask. The intensity of their reaction is wildly disproportionate to the simplicity of the question. This should make you pause. Someone who is telling the truth doesn't need to put up such an elaborate defense. They can answer calmly and confidently. A liar, however, feels the need to put up a shield, creating an emotional barrier to deflect any scrutiny. This is a classic sign of dishonesty. From a Stoic point of view, this behavior is deeply problematic. Stoicism teaches us to remain calm and composed in the face of challenges. It's about accepting responsibility without flinching or deflecting blame. When someone becomes overly defensive, it suggests they're not at peace with the truth and are avoiding the potential consequences of it. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, often spoke about the importance of self-awareness and inner tranquility. A person who is secure in their integrity has no need for defensiveness because they have nothing to hide. Overly defensive people are like fortresses, constantly preparing for battle. They are always on edge, ready to fend off any perceived threat to their image or reputation. This reaction often masks feelings of guilt, insecurity, or even a hidden lie. The more someone defends themselves vigorously, the more likely it is that they're concealing something important. Defensiveness doesn't just protect someone from external criticism, it also serves to shield them from internal truths that might be too uncomfortable to face. So how do we respond to this behavior from a Stoic lens? Stoicism teaches us to observe without getting emotionally involved. When someone reacts defensively, step back and try to understand what's driving that reaction. Is it insecurity? Guilt? Fear of being exposed? Instead of reacting to their defensiveness, something they might be hoping for, remain calm and patient. Allow them the space to explain themselves, but always be mindful that their defensiveness could be covering up dishonesty. In the end, a person who is overly defensive hasn't yet mastered the Stoic principle of calm self-assurance. They feel the need to shield themselves with words, excuses, or aggressive reactions. If they're doing that, chances are they're not being entirely truthful with you, or with themselves. As Seneca wisely said, a clear conscience never fears accusation. So, when you see someone building walls of defensiveness, it's worth asking yourself, what exactly are they trying so hard to protect? Have you ever had a conversation where the words sounded convincing, but something just felt off? The speaker might be telling you one thing, but their body, whether they realize it or not, could be sending a completely different message. It's in those moments when you should trust your instincts and pay attention to body language. You see, the body doesn't lie as easily as the mouth does. Even the most skilled liars can't completely hide their inner turmoil. It's the subtle signs, the nervous fidgeting, the shifting gaze, the involuntary movements that reveal the truth. These are the cracks in the facade, and the Stoic philosophy teaches us to notice them with a calm, detached mind. For a Stoic, observing the world without letting ourselves be swept up in surface-level appearances is key. Just as the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus advised, we should look deeper, beyond what people say to how they act. He often warned against being fooled by the smoothness of words alone, encouraging us to assess the whole of someone's behavior. The body language disconnect, when someone's body betrays what their words are claiming, is a clear indication that something isn't right. It's not just about the obvious signs like avoiding eye contact or fidgeting, though those are telling too. Sometimes the body gives away more in subtle, unconscious ways. A person might angle their feet towards the door, signaling a desire to escape the conversation, or they might nod vigorously as they speak, almost as if convincing themselves of the truth of their own words. These little clues reveal an inner conflict, an unease that the words alone cannot mask. The Stoics would encourage us to see this dissonance not as a flaw to judge, but as an indicator of something being out of alignment with truth. Stoicism teaches that living in harmony with our true nature, being honest, virtuous, and clear, brings peace and alignment within ourselves. When someone is being dishonest, they are out of sync with their own nature, and that internal struggle is inevitably reflected in their body language. This is why the Stoics would say it's important to stay calm and observe these cues without judgment. They don't see it as an opportunity to condemn someone, but to understand that the truth is being distorted. So, the next time you're in a conversation where someone's words seem to be at odds with their physical behavior, trust what you sense. Watch for the nervous hand movements, the shifting gaze, the slight turning of the body away. These are signs of discomfort, of internal conflict. And while we may not always know exactly what the truth is, these cues can guide us closer to it. Moreover, avoiding direct answers is another classic tell of dishonesty. If you've ever asked someone a simple question, only to receive a vague response or a long-winded, irrelevant explanation, you know the frustration it causes. This is a common tactic employed by people trying to evade responsibility. They rely on ambiguity, keeping things unclear so they can avoid being held accountable. But remember, as the Stoics teach, truth is straightforward. It's simple. A person who is being honest doesn't need to dodge questions. They don't hesitate or dance around the point. They give you a clear, direct response because they have nothing to hide. From a Stoic perspective, this kind of avoidance is a direct violation of integrity. It's a sign that the person is not acting in alignment with virtue. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, often emphasized the importance of being clear in thought and communication. For him, the pursuit of truth was inseparable from the pursuit of virtue, and to avoid giving direct answers was to deny responsibility and evade the call to live honestly. When someone avoids giving a clear answer, they are not just hiding the truth, they are creating confusion, hoping to manipulate the situation in their favor. The longer they can keep things vague, the more they can control the narrative. They hope that by making things unclear, you'll back off, frustrated, and give up on seeking the truth. The Stoic approach, however, is to remain calm, patient, and persistent. Rather than letting their vagueness derail the conversation, you stay steady and ask again. You signal that you're not going to be easily distracted by their evasions. Honesty, according to Stoicism, doesn't fear clarity. The truth is simple, and it stands strong even in the face of scrutiny. So when someone is evasive, it's not a reason to get upset or frustrated. Instead, it's an invitation to observe more carefully. What are they hiding? Why can't they give a clear answer? With Stoic detachment, you don't take their evasions personally. You simply observe and continue to seek the truth. In the end, the Stoic path is one of living with integrity, aligning our actions with our words, and embracing the simplicity of truth. The next time you encounter someone dodging questions or delivering vague answers, remember the Stoic wisdom. Truth is clear, and dishonesty thrives in confusion. Stay calm, stay patient, and keep seeking clarity. The truth, after all, is simpler than the tangled web of lies.